contacts. The next thing you're going to do is use the crimp tool. You're going to crimp these contacts down, and when you finish, you should be able to see the wires actually crimped into the contacts. Check the plug to make sure the contacts are properly seated and the insulation is under the plastic clamp in the back.
Next, I'm going to punch down the data cables on the termination blocks. We'll need 3 of them, and these have been labeled at the shop to help identify which cable goes where. All I need to do is cut the cable to the right length, apply the new label, and punch it down to the connector.
The task here is exactly the same as for voice lines. Measure, cut the correct length, relabel, and punch down. We'll check on his progress shortly. Now, attaching F connectors to coaxial cable is easy. We're going to use these Channel Vision push and snap style connectors. Now, when you're using quad RG6 cable, make sure you're using a quad RG6 connector. The connectors for regular RG6 look almost the same. If you plan to use the snap and seal type of connector, you'll need a cable stripper and the compression tool designed for the specific connector you're using. If you're using regular crimp style F connectors, you'll need a ratcheting crimping tool. We'll demonstrate installing this type of connector first. The first step is to strip the coax for the connector. Stripping tools for F connectors will make 2 cuts in the end of the cable. The first down to the center conductor, and the next through the outer jacket down to the foil. Use a stripping tool that has a blade depth adjustment to allow you to fine-tune the depth of each cut. Practice on scrap cable until it makes a perfect cut. The tool should strip so that there's 3/8 of an inch of center conductor and 1/4 inch of inner foil showing. The connector body is designed to take the dielectric and surrounding foil of the coax through the center hole. The center conductor becomes the center contact. We'll start with a hex crimp connector. The first step is to force the connector into the coax so the inner barrel is forced under the braid shield and over the inner foil, until the center dielectric insulation is flush with the front of the center barrel. Then, using a ratcheting crimping tool, place the connector in the correct die position for the type and size of the connector you're using. Complete the crimp by closing the handles until the mechanical cycle has been completed and the ratchet releases. The barrel should be firmly crimped against the outer jacket. Next, I'll demonstrate installing the snap and seal connector here at a master bedroom outlet. Prepare the cable the same way. I like to remove the outer braid and foil and fold back the inner braid over the jacket. Apply the connector the same way, making sure the dielectric is flush with the inside edge. I then apply a connector to the internal cable. With the ratchet fully open, insert the front of the connector into the tool so that the center conductor passes into the alignment hole. Then snap the cable into the locking jaws, then crimp the tool through its complete ratchet cycle. It's a snap. Now, when you're done with the crimping, you shouldn't be able to pull off the F connector with anything less than 40 pounds of pull tension. And make sure you check off that you've connectorized each cable as it's done. In bedroom 2, Jason discovers a common problem. One of the coax cables was damaged, probably when the sheetrock was installed. Fortunately, there's enough slack so the damage can simply be removed. Like Jason, you can also use the pull cord to strip back enough TP insulation. This puts any possible conductor nicks from the initial strip back past where the conductors will be punched down. Jason also uses a handy tool to push the coax connector on the cable, saving some finger wear and tear. And finally puts on the finished labels. Meanwhile, I install a basic wall phone plate in the garage that uses screw terminals. and get the single data outlet for the wireless access point in the closet. In the guest bedroom, we'll demonstrate ChannelVision's outlet hardware. I start with the TP connector, inserting the wires in the Cat5 jack, observing the color coding marked on the side. Punch it down, and snap on the covers. I then terminate the coax cables as before. And attach the snap-in barrel connectors.
Once the TP voice and data cables are done, I'm going to get started on the coax and the RF distribution panel. Now once again, to get the cables cut to the right length, I'm going to put most of the modules into the panel according to the panel layout diagram. I'll start with the splitters, which accommodate 16 of our external cables.
In a process similar to the voice cables, Rich measures where each cable will terminate, cuts it to the correct length, relabels, and applies the connector. Meanwhile, Steve and I tackle the 6 outlets in the entertainment center.